Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, back in January, I went and shot a video in a studio with the new facelifted Enyaq. I'm a big Enyaq fan, and I think what Skoda have done with the facelift just elevates the car to another level, and I've been really looking forward to spending some time with the car. And it's here, and it's not disappointed. First things first, the weather in the UK this week is beautiful. It's in the mid-20s, so unfortunately, I've got my chicken legs out. Anyway, I'm going to try not to repeat myself too much from the video I put out in January. So what I'm going to do is I'll put a link to that video in the top right-hand corner of the screen and also in the video description. There are two form factors of Enyaq. There's the SUV, which I filmed with in January, and then there's this, the Coupe, which is a little bit more sleek and probably my favorite design. I think I said in the January film, the SUV format's probably the most practical for my lifestyle. You get a little bit more space in the boot, but I think this looks better from the outside. There are 3 trim levels of Enyaq, whether that's the SUV or the Coupe. They are SEL, Edition and Sportline. And this is the middle one. This is the Edition 85. And I think it looks fantastic. Now, the Enyaq I had in the studio in January was in the most beautiful color. I kind of probably obsessed about it quite a bit. It was called olive green. It was such a lovely color. This is called Race Blue Metallic, and in this sunlight, it looks fantastic. The only challenge I have is we're reaching that time of year where you can park a perfectly clean car up, and within a couple of hours, it has this fine film of dust all over, especially because we live next to a farm. And then a few members of the local avian community have made a couple of deposits. So the car isn't perfectly clean. Apologies for that. But since January, I've spent quite a bit of time in the new Elrock, and that is a car I like a lot. It's the baby brother of the Enyaq, if you like. And one of the things they've done with this facelifted Enyaq is the front end design cues are that of Elrock. These lights, there's so much similarity just here. You've got these daytime running lights, the main light elements just there, and I like it a lot. And it's probably the most striking change between this and the previous model. And it's a huge improvement. I don't think the previous model was ugly in any way, but this just looks so much better. I think maybe the only issue is you could at first glance think it was an Elrock. You just have to kind of take a step back and realize it's a much bigger car. Now, as standard, the Edition Enyaq comes with the 19-inch alloy option. This press car has the upgraded Aquarius alloys, 21 inches. That's a £1,180 option. And I do find it amazing that that 21-inch wheel just sits so nicely in the car. It's a bit of a shame. I would have quite liked to see the car with the smaller wheel, and the smaller wheel would certainly give you better efficiency on a longer run. But then I am a bit of a wheel guy, and therefore I do quite like those and the way it makes the car look. The big question is, how big is the boot? Can you fit a dog in the boot? Well, we've not been looking forward to this one, have we, dude? Hey? Well, the answer is, of course you can. But you're flying solo now. The pressure's all on you. Yeah, you've not got your wingman to look after you anymore. You're not sitting there very comfortably. That's better. Hey, how was the boot? Was it big enough? Enough space? You've got some really important jobs now because it's just you. You've got to tell me how big the boot is. Is it big enough? Yeah. Good. Gonna go and play? Yeah, of course. Yeah, she was really... Go and play then. Yeah, loads and loads of room. Now, there's a few things here. There's lots of Skoda loveliness in terms of simply clever touches. There's a big storage area for charge cables, there's these little side pockets to put stuff in, there's shopping bag hooks, there's 12-volt charge ports. It's just a really practical, good size, and I'm pretty sure, drop the seats, take the parcel shelf out, a bike can go in there, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, really practical car. Now, let's quickly jump in the front. I want to talk to you a little bit about the performance and so on, in terms of battery size and range and power and all that kind of good stuff. And then we need to take it out for a drive, because that's the one thing we didn't get to do when we saw the car in January. Now, before we jump in the driver's seat, it's probably a good test just to check out what the headroom's like in the back. Because of this kind of coupe format, the worry for me would be you compromise on some of the headspace. And I have to say, you really don't. And I think that's helped, firstly, a great deal by this amazing panoramic glass roof, because you're kind of making up maybe an extra inch and a half where there's no headliner. So you've got this lovely bit of space and these kind of cutouts where the passenger's head goes. So loads and loads of space in the back. A good amount of legroom. The seat's set for me as a driver. So loads of comfortable legroom. As I said, I've spent plenty of time in the back of an Enyaq. You've got kind of, blinds for the windows. It's nice. Now, this isn't the top spec version. It's the middle spec one. But it's still very nicely equipped. Nice choice of materials. And loads of room in the back. Well, for me, at the moment, I think Skoda are smashing it with both their exterior and interior design. It's just so well laid out, this. Yes, there's a big iPad stuck to the dash, but welcome to 2025. There are, however, some real buttons there to interact with things. And whilst I haven't driven this car that much this week, because I've been tied up with other things, I have driven lots of Skodas recently, and it's the same system and it's really easy to use. You can pair your phone if you want to, or you can use the Skoda systems. But it's just a really nice, comfortable place, and it's just a bit bigger in here. These seats are really comfortable. Let me just talk to you a little bit about pricing and performance and all that kind of stuff, and I'm going to use my phone because my brain's not working very well at the moment. I've got new glasses, by the way. Put in the comments below. Do you like them? So this is the Coupe Edition 85. This is where it's a little bit confusing stroke misleading. So it's called an Edition 85. You would be forgiven for therefore thinking it had an 85 kilowatt hour battery. It doesn't. It has an 82 kilowatt hour battery, but actually that's net 77 kilowatt hours. So that probably just wasn't as neat calling it an Edition 77 maybe. This particular one, this has the 286 PS and 545 Newton meters, and it's got a single speed rear wheel drive electric motor. And it will give a WLTP of 365 miles. Now, whether or not you need to kind of take a little bit off of that because we're on the bigger wheel option, at the moment it's got 87% of charge and 288 miles. I'm confident that this is a plus 300 mile car, absolutely. It'll do 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds, but I don't think that's so much what these cars are about. And then just in terms of pricing, this car base, or if you like, without options, so the Edition 85 rear-wheel drive car is £46,450. This car only has 3 options, and we've talked about 2 of them already. The paint, the lovely race blue paint, is an extra 680 quid. The 21-inch wheels were just shy of £1,200, and then it has what's called a design selection package on the inside. It's got lots of lovely stitching and leather and nice materials and posh seats. It just elevates the quality inside the cabin. However, that's £50 short of £2,000. So the car we're sat in as spec'd is 50,260 quid. Now, it is a family car. It's a big car. It's got lots of range. It's quick. It's got a decent sized battery. I think that's a pretty good price. Clearly that kicks it into the over £40,000 luxury car tax bracket. There are implications for that in terms of your first year's cost of running, and then vehicle excise duty after that for the first 5 years, and so on. But I think that's actually not a bad price for the build quality and the car. The proof though is in the driving, so let's go and take it up the road for a spin, shall we? I'll be honest with you, I'm not too sure what I'm going to add to my impressions of this car by driving it, because a standard Enyaq is a great car, and I don't think the driving dynamics and drive of this car is going to change a great deal. Many of the changes in this facelift are just that, a facelift. They're an aesthetic change on the outside, some styling changes on the inside, which basically make this car a nicer car to look at and a nicer car to be in. It's still going to drive very much like the previous gen Enyaq, I think, and my impressions having driven this car over the last week are that's pretty much it. And that's not a bad thing at all. The all-electric Skoda drivetrain is just such a competent one. It's very smooth, it's very quiet, and it's also pretty efficient as well. Now, unfortunately, my plans for this week, I wasn't actually meant to have this car this week. I was meant to have a different Skoda, but I won't bore you with that one. And I haven't really had the time to be able to take this car on a really long journey and stretch its legs and put that range to the test. Because Skoda quote 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour is achievable, in excess of 300 miles of range. And if those things are true, that makes this car a brilliant option as a family, kid and luggage hauler, because there's loads of space in it. I've mentioned already the SUV shape is maybe a bit more practical, a little bit more space in the boot, a bit more headroom in the back, but I don't feel a huge compromise because of this sportback shape. But what you do get with a sportback shape is a much better looking car. I will be honest though and say that although I think this car is very competent and a really interesting proposition if you're in the market for a family car, it's not the kind of car that gets my blood pumping, that gets my juices flowing. I don't find it massively exciting. I just find it really, really good at what it does. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing. All cars don't have to be, 0 to 60 in 3 second mega horsepower performance monsters. And actually, if you put that to one side, this car's still rapid. It's still got a decent amount of horsepower. It's still got lots of oomph. It's still got the performance you need. But the negative for me is it's not a car that really lights my fire in this trim spec. I'd be much more interested in the sport line. And then for me, because of the type of cars I like to buy, the VRS version of this, that's right up my street. That's much, much more like it. I think the styling will be just that little bit more aggressive. Clearly the performance will be more impressive. You can get a 4-wheel drive 2-motor version of this, which again would probably be where my money went. And I know I'm going to spend more money on that. But for now, the initial impressions of this mid-range 2-wheel drive Enyaq is I like it, and I like it a lot. It just doesn't get me excited. See, this is what you want when you come out on a test drive route to do some filming. You won't get stuck behind a bin lorry going up a hill at 15 miles an hour. It's going to do great things for my efficiency, I guess. It is probably the perfect conditions for reviewing an EV today. It's 23 degrees Celsius. I have got the air conditioning on, but not super low. So the battery's going to be nice and warm. There's not going to be a great deal of strain with all the auxiliaries and stuff. So you should get the most amount of efficiency. And actually at the moment, up until I came up behind this bin truck, I was actually averaging just over 3 miles per kilowatt hour. In fact, I have seen 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is always a good thing in my book. This car is really new as well. It has about 700 miles on the clock, which for a press car is quite unusual, because most press teams, maybe more so with the internal combustion engine cars, will run the car in for 1,000 miles especially if some of the cars have a kind of run-in service at under 1,000 miles. So it's really new to fleet. There's not many people got to drive it yet, so it's really cool to be able to do that. But I think efficiency-wise, it should be as good a day as possible to do that. Go straight on. Go straight on. Yes. It's always good when everything goes straight on and you want to go left. Now, I've said many times in these types of car reviews for this format of car, this target market of car, the ultimate performance isn't everything, but I still want to be able to have fun in a car. I still want to be able to feel like it's got a turn of pace, like it's going to give you a smile on your face on the way home from a tough day at work. So as we head down here to do the drive modes, there's some manual buttons, some actual physical buttons, a little mode button here. I've got Eco, Normal and Sport. I'm going to just drop it up into Sport mode. Sport driving profile selected. And now I should just have just a little bit more under my right foot. I've also got different levels of brake recuperation that I can set if I want to. But straight away coming down here now, it's a really nice feeling car. Super quiet. Road noise isn't too bad at all. There's a tiny bit of aero hiss, and I'm wondering whether that's my external cameras maybe, because until I put them on the outside, I hadn't really heard too much external road noise. The challenge with EVs, any manufacturer will face this, is because the drivetrain is so quiet, all the other noises are much more easy to pick up. So there was a tiny rattle just somewhere here on the B pillar, and it's really annoying. It's only tiny, and it only happens every now and again. You have to hit the right resonance. But that is the problem. Any kind of rattles, squeaks, just come to the fore because there's no engine noise to hide them. That's very interesting. What an EV3 in front of me, hunting ground for this car's baby brother, really, for the L-Rock. This is a slightly bigger car. But again, there are so many of these brands like Skoda and Kia and Hyundai coming to market with cars in the battery electric space, which I know isn't for everybody, and I'm sure there will be people already hitting me up in the comments about me driving another EV. But there are just so many good, competent cars around, and I think Enyaq has been a massive success for Skoda, and with this facelift, I can only see that's going to carry on improving. Okay. Pretty healthy. Driving position, really good. The visibility from here is great. Big set of door mirrors, which is nice. Get a really good view from behind you. The rear view mirror is excellent. And then these A-pillars aren't too big either, so you've got this really airy feeling, and especially with the pan roof as well. It just gives you so much light, and it just feels refreshing to drive. And on a beautiful day like today, you can't go wrong, really. But yeah, the ride quality isn't too choppy at all. This road's, it's all right. I mean, it used to be terrible in comparison with most roads in the UK, but the roads in the UK have got so bad over the last few years, it's probably kind of stepped up the ladder a little bit because there's far worse roads than this. But it does have some of those nasty undulations that really test suspension, where you end up getting a resonance and maybe the car starts almost feeling like it's bouncing up and down. This car kind of doesn't do that. The brake feels pretty good. I'm in a middle recuperation mode for my regenerative braking, so it's not particularly aggressive setting. But certainly the throttle pull away out of a corner, there's plenty of performance there. It's rear wheel drive only, remember. And yeah, very nice feeling. Next thing to do is to go from D to B. So just a little pull down of the gear selector, which is a selector you see in lots of Skoda models. I'm not a fan. Why is it that manufacturers don't make more of an event out of putting the car into a gear? I just, nice come on, let's have at least a nod back to a proper gear selector. It's a little bit like, yeah. But anyway, now I'm in B, so I should just have on liftoff as I come into there a little bit more, and actually now I can just balance the car, even coming into this tighter right-hander off the, no, I probably need a little bit of brake for that, then back on the gas, and then really nice pull away out of the corners, quite a settled feeling in the corner. Again, just a lift off, just recuperating some of my energy back into the battery, and then accelerate away. Yeah, this car's more than quick enough. It's not one of those arse on fire EVs, but it's quick enough, and it's composed through these tighter corners. It's got a really nice feeling to it. For a car of its size, it actually handles pretty well, to be fair. So the coupe looks give a sporty look and feel to the car, but actually, from a driving dynamics point of view, pretty good. Quite impressed, actually. The brakes don't do a great deal on first application. If you want to really slow the car down, you need to kind of push relatively hard, but I'm not so sure that's a massive thing. You'll get used to that quite quickly. But there's no sharp bite to start with. They're a bit spongy, and my guessing that would be to do with the calibration of the regenerative braking. So that first application of brake, I'm probably not actually using the discs at all. I'm using the motor to regenerate the car. And if you look at the car, it's only got discs on the front, it's got drums on the back, which I always think is really weird. You know, as a kid growing up, drums on the rear of a car were pretty common, to be fair. My first few cars had drums on the rear. And then, you know, discs all round became a thing. But with electric drivetrains, you can get so much of the retardation in the car from the electric motor and recuperate that kinetic energy, that you can actually, one, reduce wear on your brakes anyway, but reduce the size of brakes. Maybe not so much for a performance EV like a Ioniq 5N or something, but for a car like this, where the type of driving profile you're doing, you're probably not doing massive amounts of heavy braking in, you know, zones on a track coming into a hairpin or something. You're just lifting off, you're preparing the car for a corner. Clearly you need to be able to stop the car quickly in emergency, but that's fine. You hang on the anchors in this car and it's going to stop perfectly. But under normal driving conditions, you know, in EVs, you can use that electric drivetrain to your advantage. You don't want to be wasting energy on heating up your brakes and occasionally making a bit of noise. Coming out of the 30 into a national 60, accelerate away, up to 60, there you go, 30 to 60. That mid-range punch is where this car is at. The 0 to 60 time's only just over 6 seconds, so it's by no means a slouch. But yeah, actually, performance-wise, very surprised. Anyway, my final impressions are, I love the looks of the new Enyaq. I liked it as a car anyway. I thought it was a very, very competent car anyway. But I think that refresh in the front end, bringing in the new Skoda family DNA, the looks of the L-Rock, is an absolute masterstroke. I think it looks a great car. I think in the Sportline or VRS trim, I think this car could look really cool. Get it in the right colour, with the right wheels. It's a really handsome looking car. This is a grown-up spec, the one we're sat in, and I quite like that. Maybe it's because I'm getting old. Maybe it's, you know, I'm aging. But what do you think of the new Enyaq? Have you got one? Have you driven one? One of the old ones? As I said, really popular car for Skoda. But for now, I'm going to love you and leave you. If you enjoyed that one, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe.